Right now on Denver 7 News at 5 a.m., it is time for the big switch. Central 70 drivers will be able to use the new tunnel after years of construction. Traffic expert Jason Luber is live inside the tunnel with the big changes you'll notice.
Some good news if you're hitting the road this weekend. Our gas prices are finally starting to drop, but how low will they go?
There's no guarantee that Coloradans will enjoy low prices before the market corrects and starts moving in the other direction.
We're talking to AAA about the factors going into the price tag at the pump.
Well, and you don't need gas for this commute. Tube to work day is here. We're live along the Boulder Creek ahead of the inflatable traffic jam. We haven't seen this since before the pandemic, so always a fun time out there in Boulder. Thanks for joining us this morning. I'm Nicole Brady.
And I'm Jessica Crawford. It's a big day for the Central 70 construction project. The traffic is going to shift tonight. Right now, eastbound traffic is using the same tunnel as westbound traffic between Brighton and Colorado Boulevards. Tonight, eastbound traffic will be detoured while crews realign traffic. When Central 70 reopens Monday morning, eastbound traffic will be using the new tunnel.
And all this week, our traffic expert Jason Luber has been giving us an inside look at the project. He is inside the tunnel this morning, where he'll talk about another feature.
You're in your element, Jason, and wherever people drive, they might have finally seen a drop in gas prices. Veronica Acosta is breaking down the numbers. But first, let's get out to meteorologist Lisa Hidalgo with your weekend forecast.
And the road, speaking of, right now, nice and dry. We picked up a little bit of rain yesterday. There's going to be another chance for some scattered showers and thunderstorms later today. I'll show you the timing of that. But as you're stepping out the door this morning, dry, mid-upper 60s, even a few neighborhoods right now in the 70s. So it's a pretty mild start to our Friday morning. It is going to get hot again. It'll be a few degrees cooler than yesterday, but we're still talking low to mid 90s this afternoon. Then the good thing is clouds will develop. We'll get some showers rolling through, and that'll help to cool things off later in the day. But Erie 94, same thing in Highlands Ranch. Estes Park today 77, Evergreen near Conifer. We're going to be at right around 80 degrees, so 70s and 80s for the mountains. Now the high country will pick up some pockets of heavy rain, so we do have some flash flood concerns near the burn scars. We'll take a closer look at that, and some of that wet weather is going to roll east again. More on the timing coming up. But now we want to get out to Jason, who, is in his element. He's all smiles this morning there on I-70 in the tunnel.
I mean, how cool is this? Actually, this pavement here, this asphalt, is really pretty. I'm telling you, I'm going to take pictures and send them out on Twitter here in a little bit. This is really pretty asphalt. We're on here on I-70. I'll talk more about what's going on behind me in just a minute. Let's take a look at your commute right now. As you take a look at I-70, right where I am, you see the flashing lights there on that camera at I-70 at Steel Street. That's where I am. That's where I'm standing right now. And you can see the drive is looking pretty good. The headlights, that's the eastbound side. So far, so good. Making your way through here. But those folks will be driving on this section of I-70 come Monday morning. You can see right now the drive times look just fine, so I'm not seeing any problems with I-70 or that drive getting out across that north side of town. You see a little bit of yellow there on Pena Boulevard, and that's from some of that overnight construction that's still lingering out there along Pena getting over to Tower Road. Some really cool stuff happening inside this tunnel, including, and I don't know if you can, it's hard to see in the tunnel there, but there are these speakers that are hanging down from the tunnel up there every so often, and they're really interesting, and they're obviously a lot larger than your Bluetooth speaker. There is a speaker for every 100-foot zone up there, and they would be used if there was an emergency inside the tunnel. So drivers could be told to stay in their vehicles, letting them know that help is on the way, or they could be asking drivers to get out of their cars and evacuate the tunnel. So far, the warnings coming out of the speakers have been to the people walking inside the tunnel.
Interestingly enough, what we're using those systems for, mostly during this 1-year transitory period, has been telling people not to walk. Don't be a pedestrian in the tunnels. It is not safe. And so we actually use that public address system to tell folks that it's not safe and they need to get out.
That's project manager Bob Hayes. I was talking to him about the 3 pedestrians a week. They go strolling through the tunnel here. They also have people trying to bike through the tunnel. Now look, there's no shoulders down there on that side right now. It's just not safe. And again, starting tonight, the switch of the big switch is happening here on this new eastbound tunnel. So lanes close on eastbound I-70, only eastbound tonight at 10, and then traffic will be detoured onto 270. Westbound will remain open. Then Monday morning, 5 a.m., all lanes here will be open, and we'll see traffic flowing through here. So really nice to see. It's a pretty highway, I'll tell you that. As far as highways go, it's pretty.
I'm going to be watching for your tweets about that beautiful asphalt, Jason, here, so get those out. The moment all of us have been waiting for, wherever you drive, is finally here. Colorado gas prices are starting to drop a little. The state average right now, $4.82 a gallon. That is still 24 cents higher than the national average. And Denver 7's Veronica Acosta joins us now. Veronica, despite our average remaining pretty high, many metro cities are paying a lot less than that. Is that right?
That is right, and that is some of the good news this morning for a lot of you, especially those of you who might be anywhere near where we are this morning. We are at a gas station on 120th and Sheridan Boulevard, and take a look at that price here behind me at this specific gas station. We're coming in at $4.37 a gallon here. That's almost 40 cents lower than it was just 24 hours ago here. Now, those of you near Longmont or Firestone, some good news for you there as well. You're going to be able to find gas there at some stations for under $4 a gallon this morning. And gas prices aren't only coming down right here at home. It's happening really all across the country. For the past 30 days, we've seen the average price fall. We're nearly 45 cents a gallon lower than the peak price here in the U.S. So pretty dramatic downward streak in gas prices. Experts say they believe we could eventually surpass that 67-day decline in gas prices that we saw all the way back in 2020 when we were at the height of the pandemic. We could be under $4 a gallon nationally in about a month here or so, and that is great news. Again, a spokesperson for AAA says Colorado will follow, just maybe a little bit slower.
We are the road trip sort of capital of America. When you look at the great American West, folks are coming to and through Colorado. That keeps demand high. Our stockpiles were a little bit low heading into the summer driving season. So that's going to keep us above the national average. Mind you, we will fall as the national average falls. We just might fall more slowly.
And if you're one who wants to make sure that you get the lowest gas you possibly can, spots like Google and Gas Buddy, they'll let you look up those gas stations with those low prices. If you use a loyalty card, you'll be able to save a couple cents on gas as well. And then there are apps like one that's called Upside that actually gives you cash back if you go to certain gas stations. So many ways for you to save a couple cents here this morning. But again, the good news is those prices seem to be coming down pretty well. In Broomfield, I'm Veronica Acosta, Denver 7.
So nice to hear good news. Thank you, Veronica. From the car to mass transit, RTD is operating at about 70% of its pre-pandemic service level. The transit agency is struggling to hire and retain drivers and mechanics, but there is a bright side to this problem. It's actually saving the agency some money. RTD's senior manager of debt and investments says that it saved $127 million in operating expenses last year with fewer employees and other cost-cutting measures. RTD is still looking to cut down billions of dollars in debt that it took on to pay for the Fast Track's rail system. Voters approved it in 2004, but it has yet to be built. Thousands of people in Denver will be getting new e-bikes, and that's thanks to the city's rebate program. But current riders are concerned that the city doesn't have the bikeways to accommodate the increase and isn't moving fast enough with necessary changes. The city says it is aware of the problem. It launched a goal in 2018 to build 125 miles of new bikeways by 2023. So far, it says 103 miles are completed. And forget biking or buses. How about a tube ride for our morning commute today?
Yeah, if you can show up to work dripping wet, this might be for you. Denver 7's Colette Bordelon is along the Boulder Creek, and this is just one of so many events we have been waiting to see come back after the pandemic. Colette.
You guys are so lucky. My shift started before I could take part in this, and I didn't show up soaking wet to work today. But this is the morning of what's possibly the only mass aquatic commute absolutely anywhere. And it all started as a joke around 14 years ago. This is the 14th annual one that they've at least held here on the Boulder Creek for Tube to Work Day. They had to skip a year because of the pandemic, but this morning there will be hundreds of tubers heading to work by way of the Boulder Creek. When they first started, it was all about the challenge of tubing to work without using a car. They found ways to get around fossil fuels and say this year that's especially nice with those gas prices so high. We caught up with one of the founders before the big morning who says it is a lot to put together, but the second he gets in the water, it's all worth it.
It is the greatest morning commute that one could ever imagine. And I trust this will be going indefinitely, and I'll be tubing to work long after I'm retired.
When we did that interview, he was telling us he would get in the water for some footage, and he was saying it's just an excuse to get out there on the creek for an extra day. Now, for safety, they will have EMTs roaming along the Boulder Creek bike path all morning. They'll also have some search and rescue dive teams stationed along certain rapids here in the creek. So just to make sure nothing goes wrong and everyone is kept safe out here this morning. It all starts around 8, but I am betting we will start seeing some people arriving here a bit earlier than that. And one of my favorite parts about this event, people normally dress in full suit and ties as though they are actually heading straight to work in what they're wearing. We're very excited to see it all live in Boulder. Club Portal on Denver 7.
Glad it's coming back. Well, get ready to 1-2 step over to Park Meadows Mall. I should have sang it, Nicole. I should have sang it. We're checking in on the progress of Sierra and Russell Wilson's new store in the Metro.
And do you recognize this logo? Well, luckily, in this case, you don't have to go searching for that old Blockbuster card. How a man is tapping into video rental nostalgia with this stand.